Hi, how's it going? This is Resin of Collinwood for YouTube. Back with another Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. And what am I discussing? Well, Dark Shadows villains, of course. Laura Collins. Whatever happened to Laura Collins? Dark Shadows' first monster, right? No, Laura Collins wasn't a vampire. If you've never seen Dark Shadows, okay? Laura Collins was not a vampire. She wasn't a ghost. She wasn't a werewolf. She wasn't a demon. She wasn't a warlock. I'd say, well, what kind of monster she could be? Right. She, my friends, was a phoenix. That's right, Dark Shadows. A show that was not afraid to take chances and pull out all the stops. And, well, in the beginning episode, they decide in the beginning episodes they roll out their first monster, a phoenix, played by the late great actress Dana Malay. It's Laura Collins, and really, this here is David's mother, of all things. And yes, I do think that why why does this phoenix seem so different from the one in 1897? Because this phoenix literally took on a form, took on a woman who was alive, right? I think that's the one thing that made it so great. Here's Dana Malay's character, Laura Collins, who's in Phoenix, Arizona, pun intended, in her apartment, and then her apartment catches fire with her in it, and people could say, and well, people say they heard screaming. The big question becomes, did Dana Malay's character willingly give her body to the Phoenix? That is a question I think we will all wonder to the end of time. I think there's no wrong answer here, really. You could say yes, or you could just say no, and the Phoenix took it to hell anyway. I mean, what's to stop this entity from taking your body and using it and walk around and have your memories? Nothing? Okay. Well, well, that's exactly what it did. Um, either way, really. Either way. Now, which one do I lean more toward? Because Laura Collins because remember, she had health issues, and I think they're implying she had mental health. She had some sort of mental health issues. I think she said yes because she had not seen her son, and the Phoenix had promised, well, to see her son, not knowing what that fully entailed for the Phoenix, what the Phoenix had planned. And once she said yes, there was no going back. It's not like she could say, "Oh, I want my body back." No, no, no. Your body's no longer your own. Um, you, you, Laura Collins died in Phoenix in that fire. That's it. It's not like she had us, like she was along for the ride when the Phoenix went to Collins Port. So that's my explanation of Phoenix. I know some. What do I think of 1897? Do I think it was because they got into Egyptian mythology? That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. Because to me, this is the Phoenix I wanted to talk about, the one from the beginning episodes. So she comes to Collinsport, and she does try to reconnect with her son. Her son wants nothing to do with her. I want you to think about this, and this is amazing to me, and it lets you know there's something going on right away. Here's David. He wanted nothing to do with Vicky and everything to do with her mother. Everything to do with his mother. She says, that woman's not my mother. What? What? David? But David's right. It isn't his mother. It's the Phoenix. Right? So eventually the Phoenix sort of seduces him in a way. Josette's ghost tries to help. Josette's ghost appears in the cabin of Matthew Morgan, standing there holding out her hands to David. Pay attention to Laura's words. He's mine, Josette. Think about that for a second. He's mine, Josette. This isn't just somebody talking to a ghost who knows the legend. This is somebody who's talking to a woman who she knew in the past. That's interesting, isn't it? Like, wait, how? Like, what? Was there some sort of history? And yes, there was. So, Liz comes in to the cottage to see what? Laura and Burke kissing. I sort of wonder if Liz hadn't walked in, would this had totally finished Burke Devlin here? Would he have? Was she trying to drain him of some sort of energy here? It didn't seem like that was the case, but it could have been. And Burke Devlin wanted it out in the open anyway. Liz is like, nah, I'm telling Roger, you ain't gonna be able to see your son. The Phoenix puts Liz in a catatonic state and then in a hospital. What a performance, by the way, by Jen Bennett, just totally laying there still in the bed. Like, she doesn't even blink when they like snap fingers in front of her, which is amazing. So, what happens in the Phoenix arc? A lot. Dr. Guthrie is introduced. You know, I will say this. Dark Shadows never really tried to repeat characters until way, way later. I think there was only one or two characters they sort of cloned. But with this, Dark Shadows was always so good at making their characters different. Later on, we're going to have Dr. Julie Hoffman. We're going to have Professor Elliot Stokes. But here, Dark Shadows has already shown you, with Dr. Guthrie's rival, this doctor is different than what Hoffman is. Because the one thing I'll give Dr. Guthrie, he didn't take a side. He was completely neutral in his investigation of what of what was going on in that house, of the events. He was a parapsychologist. And it's really amazing that you have a character who's completely neutral, at first at least. And then slowly but surely it's building that he's leaning toward their side. Vicky does a great job, obviously. Alexandra Wolf-Giles, Carolyn Nancy Barrett does a great job. Roger Collins, Lewis Edmonds does a great job. I mean, Joe Haskell, Joe Carruthers. My favorite part, my favorite part during the Phoenix arc is Joe Haskell because he's not dating Carolyn anymore by this time. He's actually heavily dating Maggie Evans. And Carolyn asked Joe a favor, but not for her, for her mother. And Joe does it. It lets you know Joe really cared about the Collins family. He really did. Man, Joe Haskell, I really do hope they bring that. That's the one legacy character they do bring back. Yeah, I'm sure they'll bring back most of them. But what a character! I mean, he's always somebody that was honest and forthright. So they asked Joe because Joe knows the area best to dig up a body. Joe, before Willie Loomis was going to open a coffin, Joe Haskell was going to do his own little sort of grave rob. But it's like Joe, he's like, no, what? No, no, uh-uh. he's, he's questioning. You gotta believe. I love Joel Carruthers' looks here and just his acting. He just like you're all. He doesn't say it, but you can sort of tell he's thinking it. You're all crazy. Like I didn't sign up for this now. I mean, what? But he does it. He does it. As reluctant as he was, he does do it for Liz. There's, I think that's the thing. The Collins family aren't necessarily. I think that's something that a misconception in Dark Shadows that might still stand is. Are the Collins family hated by the townspeople? No, they're not. They're actually beloved. They're really beloved. Um, Especially Elizabeth. Elizabeth runs the business. She hires and fires, and she's provided a lot of jobs over the years to people. I mean, the Collins family, they are it in that town. So Joe does it. Him and Guthrie go to the grave of I think it's Laura Stockridge Collins. I could be wrong. Because I know there's one in 1897 too. It's crazy. So I love it. We all love Dark Shadows for its craziness because it's awesome. And it's really, what a scene, is all I'll say. It's just really well done. The seance, the first seance that you see in Dark Shadows is in the beginning episodes. They're going to channel the ghost of the Josette. They're going to call upon her, and she enters Victoria's body, and Victoria Winter starts speaking French. This is just a great performance by everybody involved. I mean, totally great. And then they're going to do another seance at the old house. And this is where Dr. Guthrie does not make it there. The Phoenix kills him and makes it look like a car accident. It's just beautiful to watch and brutal too. A bit. Great acting, great scenes. I think that's it. Dark Shadows had the best writing, the best acting. I mean, they entertained you. They this show. This is why it's so beloved. It never stopped trying to entertain you and really challenging itself. You know, there were always these bars that kept getting set higher and higher. It felt like, and here you have a phoenix, the first monster, trying to take her son and burn him alive. And yes, Dana Malay does take David. But Dana Malay or Laura Collins does take David. They end up in the shack by the sea, and David and Laura are surrounded by fire. And finally, Burke and Vicky get David out of there, and Laura goes up in flames, and the Phoenix is gone for a while. It's one of the most underappreciated arcs probably in Dark Shadows history, and there's a lot of them out there. Really, I can't wait to get into the Adam arc because that's going to be fun too. And really, with was this supernatural creature bad? Was she evil? The one thing that makes her, I think that's the one thing I'll say is what makes her evil is wanting to kill her son, burn him alive. I mean, my buddy Patrick McCray, shout out to him, had asked me, what's the one moment that Roger really cares about David? And instantly I thought, well, the Phoenix Arc, because up until this point, to sort of close this video out, up until this point, Roger has literally done everything to push his son away from him and try to push him out the door, really. I mean, look, it's not an exaggeration to say David at this, or sorry, Roger at this point, anybody could show up at that house and want to take her son. He'd allow it. Liz wouldn't, and that's what's stopping him. So with his mother coming to the place and wanting to take him, hey, this is another just perfect excuse for Roger to go. You gotta go, kid. He is. He's pretty much saying that. But when Roger reads that a kid was burned alive and it looked like David, I think he sees a picture too. Man, does his mind change instantly. And it lets you know that yes, Roger did give a shit about his son. He really did. Despite all the arguments, the attempted killings, and yes, there were attempted killings, especially by David. David tried to kill his dad. He removed the bleeder valve of his dad's car. Oh my god. Just think about that for a second and you'll laugh. It's funny. I love it. I love it. So, what a performance. Just all around great, great performances. And it can't be said enough. So, for a villain, the fact that she's wanting to burn her son alive does make her a villain and make her evil. Did I feel sorry for her? I more felt sorry for the original Laura Collins because you don't know what the hell if she accepted a deal or not from this thing. That's who I felt sorry for. But I'm Russ of Colin, guys, gals. Well, please let me know what you think of the Phoenix Arc. What was your favorite scene? I gave you my Joe. Poor Joe. That guy got asked to do a lot of stuff, and that was one of them. Oh my God. Please let me know your favorite scene during the Phoenix Arc, and you have a great night.